The 2026 NFL Draft is shaping up to be one of the most quarterback-driven drafts we've seen in years, and the ripple effects of teams desperately chasing franchise signal callers could create opportunities for the Chicago Bears that we absolutely need to capitalize on. Welcome to Bears News Fan Report, your home for the latest breaking news, exclusive analysis, and all the insider information you need about our beloved Chicago Bears. Today I'm breaking down a mock draft scenario that not only shows where the Bears could be picking, but also reveals the kind of aggressive moves happening at the top of the draft that could dramatically impact our strategy and the talent available when we're on the clock. Let me start by saying this. The 2026 draft class is loaded with premium talent at positions that win championships. We're talking about elite edge rushers, lockdown cornerbacks, dominant offensive linemen, and yes, multiple franchise quarterback prospects that have teams at the top of the draft salivating at the possibility of finally solving their most important position. When you have that kind of desperation for quarterbacks combined with teams willing to make blockbuster trades to move up, it creates a fascinating dynamic that can benefit teams like the Bears, who are picking later in the first round. The Bears are in an interesting position heading into this draft. We've got Caleb Williams developing into the quarterback we hoped he would be when we selected him first overall. We've got pieces on offense that are starting to come together. But if we're being honest with ourselves, and we have to be honest if we want to compete for championships, our defense needs significant upgrades in multiple areas. We need more pass rush, we need more depth on the edge, we need playmakers who can get after the quarterback and disrupt opposing offenses consistently. That's where this draft becomes crucial for our future. Looking at the landscape of the 2026 draft, there's a clear tier of quarterback prospects at the top that teams are going to be falling over themselves to acquire. We're talking about guys like Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, Dante Moore from Oregon, and other signal callers who represent potential franchise cornerstones for teams that have been struggling at the position for years. When you have that kind of quarterback class, you see aggressive behavior from general managers who know they might not get another chance to land their guy. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the latest mock draft projections. The New York Jets, who have been searching for quarterback stability for what feels like decades, are reportedly willing to make a massive move to jump all the way to the number 1 overall pick. We're talking about a team that's so desperate to find their answer at quarterback that they're willing to pay whatever it takes to get to the top of the draft. That kind of aggressive maneuvering at the top creates a domino effect throughout the entire first round. When teams trade up for quarterbacks, it pushes other premium talent down the board. Defensive players who would normally go in the top 10 suddenly become available in the middle of the first round. Edge rushers who have first-team All-Pro potential fall to teams picking in the 20s. That's the opportunity that the Bears need to be ready to exploit. Because if we can land an elite defensive player who falls due to the quarterback run, that's how you build a championship roster without having to trade up and sacrifice future assets. The mock draft I'm looking at has the Jets making that blockbuster trade to number 1 overall, and they're selecting Fernando Mendoza from Indiana as their quarterback of the future. Mendoza brings everything you want in a modern NFL quarterback: poise under pressure, accuracy to all levels of the field, and command of complex offensive systems. The Jets are betting everything that he's the guy who can finally stabilize their franchise. That's pick number 1, gone to a quarterback. At number 2, the Las Vegas Raiders under Pete Carroll are taking Dante Moore from Oregon, another quarterback with elite arm talent and clean mechanics. That's 2 quarterbacks off the board in the first 2 picks, which is exactly the kind of scenario that pushes defensive talent down to where teams like the Bears are picking. The run on quarterbacks at the top is our best friend in this draft because it means legitimate difference makers on defense will be available when we're on the clock. The Titans at 3 are taking linebacker Arvil Reese from Ohio State, an absolute tone setter who can play sideline to sideline. The Browns at 4 grab wide receiver Carnell Tate. The Giants trade back into the top 5 to get Jordan Tyson. The Cardinals and Saints are building their offensive lines with Spencer Fano and Francis Mauigoa. You're seeing teams address their biggest needs, and the defensive talent is starting to accumulate as we get deeper into the first round. By the time we get to the middle of the first round, elite pass rushers are still on the board. The Commanders take Reuben Bain Jr. from Miami at 8. The Bengals grab David Bailey from Texas Tech at 9. The Rams get the best safety in the class with Caleb Downs at 10. Premium defensive talent is going off the board, but there's still incredible value available as we approach the Bears' pick. The Chiefs add a running back in Jeremiah Love to give Patrick Mahomes another weapon. The Vikings shore up their secondary with Mansour Delane. The Dolphins continue building their pass rush. The Cowboys grab versatile linebacker Sonny Styles from Ohio State. The Ravens take interior defensive lineman Peter Woods from Clemson. Every pick that goes by, we're getting closer to the Bears' selection, and the board is setting up beautifully for us to land impact defensive talent. Carolina takes edge rusher Cassius Howell at 16. Detroit reinforces their offensive line with Caden Proctor from Alabama at 17. The Jets, having already gotten their quarterback, trade back into the first round at 18 to grab wide receiver Mekhi Lemon to pair with Mendoza. The Buccaneers take tight end Kenyon Sadiq. The Steelers get their physical receiver in Denzel Boston. The Eagles add cornerback Jermud McCoy. The Texans grab interior defensive lineman Caleb Banks. And then we get to pick 25, and this is where it gets really interesting for Bears fans. At this point in the draft, there's still legitimate pass rush talent available, players who can come in and make an immediate impact on our defense. The Bears are in position to add a developmental edge rusher with significant upside, someone who fits our defensive scheme and can grow into a consistent force off the edge. According to this mock draft, the Chicago Bears select Romello Height, an edge rusher from Texas Tech. Height brings exactly what we need: length, athleticism, and pass rush upside that can be developed into a consistent threat. At 6'5" with long arms and explosive first-step quickness, Height has the physical tools to become a problem for opposing offensive tackles. He's raw in some areas, which is why he's available at 25, but the ceiling is incredibly high for a player with his combination of size and athleticism. Height finished his final season at Texas Tech with impressive production, showing the ability to win with speed around the edge and the power to set a strong edge against the run. He's the kind of developmental prospect that can come in and contribute on special teams immediately, while learning the nuances of playing edge rusher at the NFL level. Give him a year or two in our system, let him add some strength and refine his technique, and you could be looking at a double-digit sack guy who becomes a cornerstone of our defense. The beauty of this pick is that we're not reaching for need, we're taking the best player available, who also happens to fill a significant need on our roster. Height represents value at pick 25, a player with first-round talent who's available because teams ahead of us were addressing quarterbacks, offensive line, and other positions. That's exactly the kind of draft strategy that builds sustainable winners, taking advantage of how the board falls and landing impact players without having to trade up. For Bears fans, this mock draft scenario should be encouraging because it shows that even picking at 25, we can land legitimate talent that addresses our biggest needs. The defensive line and edge rush positions are crucial in today's NFL, and adding a player like Height gives us another piece to build around as we try to construct a defense that can complement our developing offense. So, here's what I want to know from all of you. How do you feel about the Bears potentially selecting an edge rusher like Romello Height at 25? Would you prefer we go in a different direction, maybe cornerback or offensive line depth? Do you think the Bears should be more aggressive and trade up if an elite prospect starts falling, or should we stay patient and take the best player available at our pick? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, because draft strategy is something we all have opinions on, and I value your perspective as passionate Bears fans. If you want to stay updated on every development leading up to the 2026 NFL Draft, If you want exclusive mock draft analysis and breakdowns of prospects who could be wearing the orange and blue, make sure you subscribe to Bears News Fan Report and hit that notification bell. We're here every single day bringing you the content you need to stay connected to your Chicago Bears. Drop a like on this video if you found this mock draft analysis helpful, share it with other Bears fans, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. The draft is still months away, but the preparation starts now, and I'll be here covering every angle. Until next time, Bear down!